Suffering can be on a high level or suffering can be on a low level, right? And that combined with the fact that, again, I'm talking about Tony because he's a friend and we talk a couple days a week. About 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Tony flew into Phoenix just to share something with me. So he flies in. His plane is the size of this building. And he flies in and we go and we sit at a restaurant and we close the place and we're there till 1 o'clock in the morning just talking. And he said, I found the secret to not suffering at all. I mean, you understand something. A lot of times we can share so much is because the people who face it the most, we have to find the way to solve these problems and it's easier to share. But he said, I found a way not to suffer at all. I used to think that I had to stress about certain things that would make me better on stage, a better businessman, a better father, a better husband. And I realized that you could stop the suffering in a moment. You could just let it come through and out. He goes, it used to take a week, then a day, and then it was hours, and then it was minutes, now it's seconds. He said, I don't go more than 2 seconds with anything that holds me on suffering. And it was a much deeper conversation. We talked for hours. But that combined with where I was in my life and the untethered soul gave me this process that I want to share with you guys. You know, if I said to you guys, if you had a week to live, what would you do? And I think what most people, and I'm going to have you right here in a minute, but not now because it's not what you think. I think up until a certain time in my life, you would think about if you were dying literally, an angel came down and said you had a week to live, what would you do? And I think our instinct goes to bucket list stuff, right? I should have taken that trip across Europe. I should have done this. I should have done that. But I use it in a completely different way that I want to share with you guys today. If an angel came down and said, sorry, you have a week to live, who would you call and say no to? Who would you call and say yes to? Who would you call and say I'm sorry to? Would the little things bug you if you ordered chicken and they brought you steak? Would you really give a crap? Would you care if your friends went to the movies and they didn't invite you? Would you care if someone was rude to you? Would you care if someone cut you off in traffic? How would you be to people around you? If it was rainy, would you say, shit, it's a rainy day? Or would you say, oh my God, look at the abundance of this amazing rain? If a mosquito bit you, would it bug you if you had a week left to live? You'd be like, oh my God, that little thing just kicked my ass. And then I think about, and this is from the untethered soul, if a higher power, whoever you believe in, God, came down and spent time with you, do you want to be the person that lets all those little things bug you, that gets the angst, gets in the, suffers? Or would you want to be the person that just is living an abundant mindset, an abundant life? And I would love for you guys to take a few moments and not think of the bucket list stuff, but think of the things you would change immediately. What would you do if a really sweet, pleasant angel came down to deliver you the bad news that you had a week left to live? I think so much would change. I mean, there might be some bucket list stuff, but I know throughout a day, when I think through that framing, nothing gets me off, especially in the last 6 months. Nothing gets me off track. Nothing gets me to be angsty. And I have to tell you, I'm always high energy. I was always running away from my past and being homeless as a kid and couldn't read well and getting made fun of. Like, I was always running from that. I always felt I had to run 100 miles an hour and I had to work all night and I could take on the stress. Something goes wrong with the business, give it to me. Something's wrong, there's a conflict, give it to me. I'll fix it, give it to me. And I'd hold it and I'd walk around with a smile on the outside, but I knew there was this burning hole of anxiety and stress and worry about going backwards. And I thought for so many years that was my driving force. I don't want to go backwards. I'm scared. I have this anxiety, but I can power through. And once I let that go, I was afraid to let it go, thinking that was my power. That was my superhero. That's what drove me, and it was a lie. You can accomplish just as much with zero suffering. You can accomplish just as much by being your best self, by having an abundant mindset, to search out those stories that disempower you. And just focus on where you want to go. And I think what would be great is if you guys just took a couple of minutes right now and wrote down what are 5 things that you would change if you literally had a week left. What are 5 things you would do? Who would you call? Who would you say I'm sorry to? Who would you forgive? The greatest gift I've ever been given is just forgiving all the people in my life and forgiving yourself. Would you forgive yourself? If you take a moment to write that down, and that was just part of how you lived everyday life, it's not that difficult. Because I can remember years trying to find gratitude. Somebody says, be grateful, and you're just having a horrific day, a horrific month, somebody's sick, somebody said no, going through a divorce, you're like, how can I find gratitude in this moment? There's always a place of gratitude, and was my little hack. This is what pushed me over the edge.
What's up? What's up? Hey, before you go, you need to watch these next few videos. They're absolute game changers. Hurry up and click right over here and watch them, and I'll see you there.